February 2nd, 2021. So here's my update on my orchid collection. First up is a few that you've seen before. On the left is my Phragmipedium Andean Fire in bloom and with a bud in wait. So I expect this to be in bloom for some time. Next to it is the Vanda lamellata, which continues to be scentless. But despite that, I really do like these flowers, and thrilled to be able to bloom this in my home for the very first time. So I think that these could be in bloom for at least 2 months, because that's what I've heard. This is Paphiio Kamikani Paradise times Primulinum, and I repotted it, and as a result, the buds in the back aborted. So this is going to be my only flower, but it is long-lived. It's almost been open now for a month, and I really do enjoy these yellow flowers. They're very nice. I like this lady slipper a lot. Next to it is my Vanda Blaupunkt. This is a first-time bloomer for me, and these flowers are the size of a Lou Sneery, and they have a pungent grape smell. I guess that's the closest thing I can relate to. And it's a very temperamental plant, though, really requiring bare roots. Here's my Oncidium Twinkle, which has been in bloom now for almost a month, and really it's on its way out. It's starting to lose a few flowers, but it still smells like vanilla. A very reliable bloomer for me. Next to it is the Brassivola subulifolia, and I didn't experiment. I put it in a super dark room, took it out 15 minutes later, and the fragrance was much more intense, smelling of citrus and sweetness, but still not as intense as my Little Stars. Yeah, so it's just, that's how it responds in my home. But Little Stars continues to bloom well, to be very fragrant, and easy to care for. A reliable bloomer every year. And if you want, you can look at my Care Collab video I did with Ninja Orchids and see how I grow this one. Next to it is my, well, at this point it's a Psychopsis Rescue. I bought it last summer. It almost died when I repotted it, but since then it's grown some roots. And much to my surprise, the spike that didn't die has now a bud on it. Yeah, so I might see some flowers soon. Next to it is a novelty Phalaenopsis. I'll show you the tag. Yeah, I bought this from Kingfisher Orchids. It did bloom for me in the fall on one flower that lasted like 10 days. And now most of the spikes are trying to form buds, but I think one's already aborted. So I don't know if it will ever bloom again, but we shall see. Next to it is this gorgeous No ID Phalaenopsis, which I bought, I think I bought it last year. I'd have to look in my records, but this is its first rebloom in my home. I bought it because I love the patterning on the flowers. And the leaves, which are immense, also have their own kind of patterning on it. So I don't know what influence is in the mix of these Phalaenopsis, but look at that. Yeah. So the last one in this corner is this Lutetia discolor, which has had a long history in my home. And even though the flowers are simple, I love it. Next up is this No ID Phalaenopsis, which I will record now. I do love these velvety flowers, but the plant isn't doing so well. So I'm simply going to cut the spike and try to help and rescue this plant. Yeah, that's the best thing I can do for it. Next up is my Coleogene usitana times Samonicolor, which you've seen before, but now it's on its third flower, and these flowers are lasting like about 10 days, as they did before. And as you can see, there's another bud in the back, which will be the last. So after that, the plant will go dormant, and it should form a new pseudobulb sometime in the summer and flower again. So now it's really Phalaenopsis spike season for me, as it is every year. So this one has white flowers, this one has pink flowers, and this one also has pink flowers. So yeah, so you'll see that in future updates. Next up is something that just opened a few days ago. This is Phragmipedium persei. I bought this plant last summer in bud, bloom, and yeah, so 6 months later, it's rebloomed for me on another growth. So I'm really pleased. Yeah, this is a very compact plant, and even though it's not very big, it seems to do well in my home. I mean, it's already got another bud behind there, so I'm hoping to have it bloom all winter with my supplemental lighting. So it's been extremely easy to care for, probably one of my easiest Phragmipediums so far. And it's grown 2 growths recently. So, and the growth that is flowering also has things growing out of it. I don't think they're roots, so maybe it'll have more growths coming up. And maybe next summer I'm going to have more flowers from another growth. So that's really it's been worth every penny, and I didn't pay much for this plant. Next to it is Vandicostylus pine rivers, which you've seen before. And this is usually the time when it blooms for me, but it is definitely due for a repot. But I don't want to do it now because it's just too cold. And I don't want to set it back too much. So I have fewer flowers this year, but I still enjoy these, especially when we're having a snowstorm as we are today. It makes it that much more tropical in my home. Next up is Vanda Pachera Delight, which has been in bloom now for almost 2 months. And yeah, I'm going to miss these flowers a whole lot. So they are gorgeous, just wonderful. Next up is my Cattleya SLC Love Castle, which I bought from Crystal Star last year. Unfortunately, it arrived with some buds that aborted shortly afterwards, but since then it's grown 2 pseudobulbs, and the latest one now has grown 4 buds, and I can't wait to see these things opened. They're going to be burgundy, but probably not scented. Next up is my Ascocentrum hybrid, which blooms for me regularly every year. And this is the cross. And this plant is grown in super bright light, which explains why the leaves turn purple at this time of the year, every year. And by the color change, you can see how much it's actually growing. And it is growing fast. And there are 2 new stem roots. And more importantly, there are some spikes. In fact, they're very difficult to show you in this crappy light, but there are actually 3 spikes on this plant. So that's just awesome. So that's it for my orchid update today. I hope you've enjoyed all these blooms. I'd like to thank my subscribers, and thank you for watching, and happy growing.